come to this event. And I want to make sure that you're aware that it is the hope of Computer Ed that we'll be able to support you in this really innovative work. This is the first in a series of opportunities we intend to provide for the schools that are deciding to waive the telecommunication policy that currently exists in the district and move into a bring your own technology in to support instructional practices. We believe the best place to start is with really basic classroom operations. So we've got just a really brief 8 little tips, the top tips we were able to call out. Several people from our department kind of looked at all the information that was out there related to this work and picked out some top tips that we felt would translate immediately into classroom implementation. So we're hoping that one of these or maybe multiple ones of these can be shared with your classroom. The format we're going to use for this link session is there's really a primary presenter. At this point it's me, Jana Hickey, and we're going to ask that you enter questions into the chat window. I'll be taking the questions as I see them appear. I may take a couple slides before I do, but I'll be monitoring the chat window. And then if needed, you can basically do the equivalent of raising your hand in this chat environment or in the link environment and ask me to open your mic. I'll be more than happy to ask the question. Towards the end, we will open all the participants' mic if they would like to share ideas. You know, some people don't exactly have mic capabilities because of the way they're connected, but it appears that most have chat capabilities. I do need to know, you may have missed it, there may be some participants that want to receive professional development credit for this. We are ready and able to do that. I just need to know who in the group intends to receive professional development credit so that we can give you 1 hour's credit for the work that you will be doing. Moving on ahead, I want to scan down and see if Steve has not gotten Deborah back on, so they're still working. But the work that you are doing, I believe, underscores that you're taking those devices that we know that the students already have hidden under the desk, in their backpacks, or in their pockets, as this girl is doing right here. They're already using it and bringing them out into the open air and embracing them as part of the learning environment. There are many statistics that demonstrate to us that students feel they unplug when they come into the schools and don't have access to the same type of technologies they may have at home or with friends. And the work that the 8 schools that are involved in the telecommunication waiver have decided to undertake is bringing those tools out of the pockets, out of the backpacks, and into the learning space that we call school. So it's really important. For this very first part of it, where we're looking at just basic classroom operations, we, after culling through the literature and the work that's going on in the field of BYOD and wireless access, we seem to be able to distill down to all of the operations to one of 3 categories. And those 3 categories are communicate, document, and monitor. It's really simple, and the programs that have proven to be highly successful seem to understand that they must communicate, they must document, and they must monitor the work they are doing with bringing your own device. Now, that sounds simple to start with, but if overlooked, it can be very tragic. So let's kind of break those 3 things apart. To break them apart, we'll first start with communicate. With communicate, we're talking about things like signage, statements that are made, and procedures that are in place that people are all aware of. Because while this is a liberating move on the part of your schools, it also can be an overwhelming move if not addressed in the right manner. Like, every school that has been successful with BYOD that we were able to research clearly marks areas that are no tech zones, that technology should never come out, it cannot be used, like the bathroom, not appropriate, quite possibly the office, because students there are using it, if they're supposed to get in and out, not a good idea. Maybe something like even in the line at the lunchroom. You need to come up with some type of signage, or those who have blazed the trail ahead of you seem to recommend strongly that you come up with some consistent signage that helps ones to understand this is a no tech zone. The sign that I've demonstrated right here on the screen is actually one that comes out of a school district in Florida. At the end of the presentation, I'll share where we have all of the different options that are made available to us. Okay, I'm going to move on forward. The next area that you possibly want to look at is in the classroom. Once you've established no tech zones in the school beyond the classroom, and you might have full tech zones as well, like maybe in the gym or an area where students congregate before and after school. In the classroom, we have some simple rules that might need to be enforced to make this or help this be a successful program. As you can see from this cartoon that is shared with permission through Creative Commons, if you don't take well, there are some inherent consequences related to the challenges that you're taking on. And if you don't take charge of it, you're going to end up feeling like the technology is the problem. Remember, you're the teacher. You are the administrator. You establish the expectations in the classroom. If you do not establish the guidelines for responsible use in your classroom, the technology can become a distractor, as in this video or as in this cartoon, instead of an enabler. One technique that many of you may have already realized is it replicates what happens in the real world with traffic signals. So classrooms will make signs that they put on the outside of their classroom and also at the front of their classroom that indicate what type of tech day it is. And they just use the simple indicators of the red light, yellow light, and green light. A red light day that you'd have posted outside your classroom as well as posted at the front of the room so that students can't not realize what type of tech day it would be, means the technology is put away. Generally one of the things you would think about on a testing day or something like that. So it's perfectly fine to say today is a no tech day. It may be a day that you just want students brainstorming from within their own grain banner. That's still part, you control the environment. The second type of signage is a yellow light day or a yellow tech day. A yellow tech day means the technology can certainly be out, but it's used for very preset educational activities. Like you may be using it today for polling and posting to Wikipedia, but we really don't want students doing general searches or off on maybe some type of app that is focused on math. So again, it's a yellow light day, and you as the teacher define what the appropriate uses of that technology are on that day. And of course, what we're all moving towards is that green light day. But don't think that every day should be a green light day. A green light day would be a day that students are working on maybe projects or in student pairs, that they're coming up with some type of presentation, some type of hypothesis. Not every day is a green light day. But the green light day are the days when students are really encouraged to try very diverse means to seek out new understandings. I'm going to take a breath and see if we have any questions. If you do, please enter them in the chat window.
Hey, Jana.
Yeah, we weren't able to get Deborah back on.
Well, she's trying. Something went wrong with the audio on her desktop, so in the meantime, she's trying an iPad and a laptop, and so she's got like 3 devices she's trying to get in, but she's having some network issues out there. So
okay.
I just told her you're recording this, and we can always play it back in another time.
Right, and we'll keep an eye up for when she does join us. Yeah, I've been monitoring it there. Anybody else on questions on anything up to now? All right, moving right along. One of the really important rules are when you are in your classroom is to keep calm and realize that you don't have to be the only source of authority. If in fact what we're looking for, and I'm a little bothered, Steve, can you look up at the do you see that there are exclamation marks on several participants, specifically Todd Topher?
I'm sorry, Jana, say again.
I see Deborah in there. Let's hope she's joining us. Todd Topher has an exclamation mark over top his. No, he's fine. He's back on. Todd's typing. That's what the reason is. Let's see what we've got. Our Fairdale is. Todd is okay. Thanks a lot, Fairdale. I will call it. How about Brad? Okay, back on this because I think Deborah has actually joined us at this time. I'm not sure at what level, but I see her back on the list. One of the really important rules that most of the research and looking at projects that have already moved ahead with this type of technology is to help the teacher understand that the second you open up to multiple devices, that you can really, if you try to assume being the solution for all the problems for the technology, it becomes overwhelming. So an encouraged technique would be something like ask 3 before me, because a lot of times students can help each other, especially on one of those green light days. You can't possibly be a techspert on iOS and Android OS and mobile Windows and whatever, mama cell phone that's coming in here. But if you encourage using something like a technique of ask 3 before me, where they go to their colleagues and that's the way the work is done in your classroom, it becomes much more manageable. There's even an app that exists both for the iPad as well as the Android OS that is called Ask 3. It is simply typed ask with the number 3 behind it, and it allows you to facilitate that without it even having to be a complete conversation going on between the two students. With the technology, they can basically blast out to the class the issue they're having, and up to 3 people can answer it with a possible solution before it even cues into the queue for the teacher. Okay? So the first area is to communicate. And just to recap, what we said on communicate is making sure you clearly establish what are tech-free zones in your school, and there are areas that should be tech-free zones, one of which that we recommend is the bathroom, but there are other areas you will find that it really just breaks down on the flow if they aren't tech-free. The second is to come up with a way to notify students before they walk in the classroom on the expectation for technology utilization for that day. And the technique that seems to be endorsed in many different places is the red light, green light, yellow light technique. Red light meaning it's a no tech day. Yellow light meaning with the signage that is out on the door that it is a specified tech day. In other words, the teacher will specify what type of technology, like polling or whatever they're going to be using. And then the green light day, that basically it's any way they can seek out the answer, where we encourage those students to be looking for varied solutions.